Hi and welcome to this video. In this video, you will learn about variables and constants. First, I will make a quick revision of what you have learned in the previous video and continue further. Let's begin. In the previous video, you learned that group of statements within the function will be divided into two parts. The first one is declaration part and next one is execution part. And this is the syntax for writing declaration part. Storage class, modifier, data type and data item. Writing storage class and modifier is optional, but we must write data type and data item. Data type, the type of information which we are going to take, we need to represent in the data type. These are the data types you learned. Int for taking numbers, float for taking numbers with decimals, char for taking characters. String, group of characters is called string. String data type will be formed using char data type. Data item is a placeholder which stores the data. It is also called as identifier because it is used to identify the things. Data item name can be any name of our choice, but we must follow some naming conventions. And you also learned what is initialization. It is the process of assigning the values to the data items. To assign the values to the data items, we need assignment operator. This is integer data item, this is character data item, this is string data item and this is float data item. Apart from this assignment operator, C also supports these assignment operators. These operators you will learn later in the videos. And this is the example you have learned in the previous video. Now we will see what is variable and what is constant. Before that, I would like to say one thing. Int, float, char and return, all these are called keywords in C. Keyword means key, important word. The word which has special meaning in the language is called keyword. Keyword is also called reserved word. Let me show you the keywords which are available in C language. There are totally 32 keywords in C language C89 version. These are the 32 keywords. Among 32, you already seen char, float, int and return keywords. And each chapter of C will cover few keywords. Now we will see what is variable and what is constant. When we look at the example program, we did declaration and initialization at the same time. Up to here, this is declaration and this is initialization. Instead of doing both declaration and initialization at the declaration part, we can do initialization later in the program. Let's say for example, let's take only student ID, average and gender. Let's initialize here like this. First we did declaration, after that we did initialization. We are displaying the values here. As we take only student ID, average and gender, let's take out the string which is student name. Now I would like to take one more student data. Let's assign second student values to these data items here. Let's display these values. Let's assign one more student details to these data items. Let's display these values. Now let's save the program, compile and run. Now our program is compiled successfully. Now let's run the program. When we look at the output, these are the 3 student details we assigned in the program. But this is not clear, right? It is better to display each student information in a separate line. For that, we should use one special character in C, that is \n. Let's exit this command prompt. \n means new line. When executing the program, this information will be displayed in a new line. Let's give \n here. Let's save the program, compile and run. Now the output is very clear, right? Because we displayed each student information in a separate line. Let's exit this command prompt. When we observe the values of these data items, we can notice that these values keeps on changing from one time to another time. Let's say here the value of student ID is 111. Here the value of student ID is 222. Here the value of student ID is 333. Similarly, student average also, and similarly the value of gender also. If the values of data items keeps on changing from one time to another time, then these data items is called variables. We can say this is integer variable, student average is float variable, and gender is character variable. The word itself is saying that variable varies, it means changes. Okay. On the other hand, let's take an equation which is the area of the circle. This is the formula for the area of the circle, which is pi r square, and this is the circumference of the circle. The formula is 2 pi r. R means radius. Radius value can change, but the value of pi and 2 are fixed values. So, if we want to declare a pi, we need to use one keyword, that is const, constant. Let's declare the data item which takes pi value, const, and the value of pi is 3.14, which is float data type and data item name equal to 3.14. And one more thing to note here, when we are declaring a data item which is constant, it's better to give the name in capital letters. Now let's display this value. As it is a float data item, we need to give %f, pi. Let's give /n so that it will display in separate line. Let's save, compile and run. We can see here the value of pi. Let's exit this program. Now let's try to modify its value. Okay, let's save this program. Let's try to compile. We can see here we got error because we declared pi as constant. If we declare a data item as constant, we cannot modify its value. That's why the error is saying here at the line number 13, assignment of read-only variable pi. As this is not allowed, let's take out this line, save, compile and run. Okay. So, this data item can be a variable or constant. So, if you want to take the data item in which the value keeps changing from one time to another time, we need to declare that as a variable. Best examples will be student ID, employee ID and product ID. Let's take student ID. One student ID will be different from another student ID. One employee ID will be different from one employee to another employee. Similarly, product ID also. On the other hand, if you want to declare the data item in which the value should not be changed, then we need to declare the data item as a constant. These are the examples. The value of pi which we have seen now. Let's say a class can have only maximum of 100 students. Then we can declare that as a constant max students. Or a company can have a maximum of 1000 employees. We can declare it as a constant with the name max employees. Okay? And one more thing I would like to say to you. Actually, for the variables, instead of giving the values directly within the program, we will read the values during the execution of the program. How to read the values for the variables during the execution of the program, we will learn in the next coming videos. And also, we can declare the constants in 3 ways. Different ways of declaring the constants we will see in the next video. Thank you very much for watching this video. See you in the next video.